Hey noobs, Mr. Frog here. Over the past few years, the Kaiju Princess game series has quickly become one of my favorites, with each release offering a distinct and enjoyable adventure. The series has picked up plenty of steam with others as well, going as far as to receive a full-on advertisement in front of Akihabara's Radio Kaikan. There's definitely been a lot of hype and interest for the now third installment in the series, and you may be wondering if it lives up to the hype to match the same quality as the previous two titles. My short and quick answer for anyone wondering is that if you did enjoy the previous two, then it is more than likely you will enjoy this game as well, as Kaiju Princess 2 largely keeps the same enjoyable formula from the previous games, just with a bit of polishing and a new setting and characters. If you are completely new to the series and are wondering if you can just start with this one, I personally would recommend starting with the first one just to see the progression of the series and pick up on some of the more subtle references throughout, but since the main character and story are all new, it isn't necessarily essential either if you do want to just jump in and start with this one instead. You will mostly just miss out on a few minor references, but not really anything necessarily major. The story in Kaiju Princess 2 continues with the 7 Deadly Sins theme from the past games, where you take care of a cute anime girl that also happens to be a giant kaiju monster based upon one of the 7 Deadly Sins. The first game was centered around the slothful and lazy Zhao, the second featured the prideful and arrogant Dainyo, and this time around, it is centered around the gluttonous and hungry Poochi-Q. The game really leans into the gluttony theme, with a strong focus centered around food, and has you play as a chef, traveling the universe in search of the perfect ingredients to create the ultimate culinary experience. The only issue is that you are framed for a crime that you did not commit by your former traveling companion, and are now currently on the run from the intergalactic police. One day you are nearly arrested, when suddenly you are saved by a mysterious giant kaiju monster. The kaiju then transforms into a beautiful girl aboard your ship and offers to further protect you and be your bodyguard in exchange for your delicious cooking. Reluctant at first, you eventually agree to keep her aboard as long as she helps you to explore the various planets across the galaxy and aid you in collecting rare ingredients and capturing the person who framed you to prove your innocence. As you explore together with Poochi-Q, you strengthen your bond together, and slowly begin to reveal both of your backstories to each other. The game starts out with a more lighthearted, jokey tone, but eventually begins to lean into a more serious one over time. For the most part though, it's a simple, easygoing, and enjoyable storyline that lives up to the same quality that we have come to expect with the Kaiju Princess series. The game utilizes and leverages its gluttony theme well, with lots of scenes focused around cooking different exotic dishes and presenting them to Poochi-Q for consumption. While I do think I slightly prefer the protagonists from the previous games, the story scenes are well written, and Poochi-Q's loyal dog-like nature makes her easy to like and care about. It will probably mostly just come down to your personal preference and taste for whoever you like the most though. Poochi-Q definitely leans more into the bubbly, almost airhead type, in sharp contrast to the domineering tsundere Dainyo from Arrogant Kaiju Princess, and the sleepy kudere Zhao from the original Kaiju Princess. If you ever wanted a golden retriever girlfriend though, then you will definitely love Poochi-Q. As for the gameplay, it follows the same formula of the previous two games, and is primarily a time management visual novel game where you must balance Poochi-Q's hunger and mood, while also exploring different planets to find their rare ingredients and cook a special meal. Goals must be accomplished within a set number of days, with each day allowing a limited number of actions per day. Each action will cost a different amount of points, so you must carefully balance out your actions throughout the day to make sure you are taking care of Poochi-Q while also making progress towards your goal. You can improve her mood by spending time with her and performing various actions such as talking to her or even giving her a relaxing massage. Food energy is consumed during exploration and is restored by cooking various recipes that you unlock throughout the game. There's a pretty large variety of dishes that you can unlock and cook, with a lot of them having cute, unique scenes associated with Poochi-Q trying them for the first time. Ingredients to make the dishes are obtained by exploring the different planets across the universe. Exploration is done through a series of events with different branching paths, with each step along the path allowing you to make a decision with different chances for success based upon Poochi-Q's stats. Each choice you make will result in different effects, such as receiving gold, items, or stat increases. Planets will generally have a boss battle at the end of one of the paths that will reward you with a rare ingredient to cook a unique recipe and progress the main story objective. For the most part, the game keeps this pattern of explore new planet, obtain ingredient, cook the recipe, and then wait until the deadline to go to the next planet, and then repeat this process. I will be honest in saying that it does get just a little bit repetitive after a while, and oftentimes I did finish the objective way before the deadline, with not really much else to do other than repeatedly talk with Poochi-Q or re-explore the planet and grind more gold. Some other form of busy work content I think would have been a nice addition to mix up the gameplay just a little bit more, but the game does have a good amount of story scenes that are randomly mixed in between the days as well to keep you entertained. You can of course always fast forward straight to the next planet after hitting the goal as well though, so it's not really too bad. You just may want to make sure that you've properly grinded up enough stats on Poochi-Q first, or you may begin to struggle with exploration and boss fights. You can increase your stats through a variety of means such as exploration and cooking, but perhaps the best way to increase your stats is through the real content in this game, the H content. Probably the best use of your time after completing the main objective is to proceed to grinding Poochi-Q's stats by completing the achievements related to the H content. This is because these achievements grant massive stat boosts to Poochi-Q, making exploration and boss fights much easier. The main form of H content is done through a minigame that you can do at any time during the day, as long as you have at least one action point left. The day will conclude after the minigame though, so do try to save this for the last thing that you do during the day. The minigame is essentially a customizable simulator mode where you can create a customized looping scene with tons of different options. There is a large variety of outfits, poses, and visual settings that can be adjusted to create your ideal scene. Outfits are unlocked through fully exploring each of the planets, with each outfit having a dedicated scene as well, which was a nice touch. The simulation minigame is unfortunately only limited to Poochi-Q, but there are a few additional story-related scenes throughout the game that do feature the other heroines as well. The main focus is on Poochi-Q though, so your enjoyment will largely depend on how much you enjoy her style of character. The game has a good amount of H content overall, and does a good job balancing it in with a pretty good story and decent time management gameplay. Overall though, the game is mostly more of the same content from the previous games, just with a little bit of extra polishing. I did also find this one to just be a touch easier than the others, so I do recommend playing on at least normal difficulty if you'd like more of a challenge as well. It also would have been nice to see just a bit more experimentation or innovation with some new features, but the game does have the same solid and enjoyable foundation from the previous games, and the cooking system was a nice addition, both thematically and gameplay-wise. If you are a fan of the series, then it is more than likely you will enjoy this one as well, and it is another fantastic addition to the Kaiju Princess series overall. With that being said, Mr. Frog awards this game a strong Mr. Frog sip. Have you played this game? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And if you'd like to see more H-game content, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure to check out the Mr. Frog stream over on Twitch. Later, noobs.